What's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to the R&D show. It's your boy Shad holding it down. Hopefully, y'all feeling good, feeling great. And we're gonna jump right into some hot topics. The hottest of the topics right now clearly is Real Housewives of Atlanta. If you do watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, you probably seen the episode before last, which is when all the girls got together and at the end of what should have been a great evening, Kenya and Britt got into it. Britt starts to talk about pistols and whips and just went on for 40 days and 40 nights of clearly she was intimidated by Kenya. You were intimidated by her presence, you're intimidated by just her in general. And when someone is intimidated by you and they've already made up in your mind that they don't like you, they're going to react and respond in a manner that's not deserving of. Britt was not provoked to do the things that she did and to say the things that she said, but it also just speaks volumes about where she is in her life, in her character. And Kenya, at that moment, handled the situation gracefully by using her emotional intelligence. I always tell people, your emotional intelligence is going to be the thing that keeps you out of trouble, keeps you from reacting out of emotion and responding in an impulsive way. Your emotional intelligence is your self-awareness, and it also helps you manage your emotions and makes you aware and understand of other people's emotions around you. And it keeps you out of situations that can escalate to the next level based off of what someone else is already doing. Because at the end of the day, you get to choose how you want to participate in someone's chaos, in someone's shenanigans. And so in that moment, Kenya decided to walk away because she understood that the situation was becoming heightened and it would not be good for her safety and her security. And so I think that the audience empathized with that, and the outrage became bigger than what probably Bravo thought it would be, or maybe they knew it would become big, which is why they kept that scene in there and that audio of her talking about pistols and things of that nature. And so, of course, people are like, okay, she should have been reprimanded. She should have been demoted. Where's the conversation surrounding this? Did she receive any discipline? Is this what prompted Kenya to do what she did? Which now brings me to this week's episode, Sunday. So on Sunday, Kenya clearly felt some type of way, and she decided to take matters into her own hands by doing a background check on Britt and kind of digging into her life and finding out some things. So here's the thing. Kenya used her grand opening to the public for us to really see the Kenya Moore hair spa, which looks beautiful, by the way. This moment that's supposed to be about you and about your daughter and about celebrating women and accomplishments and your success and showing people that if you just keep dreaming and believing and you keep putting in the work and having that faith and walking by faith and things of that nature, then this can be you as well. This could be your reality as well. Such a beautiful moment. But Kenya chose to use that moment and make it about Britt. And so what Kenya did was, within her background check, she found that, there were some mug shots, but she also found a photo of Britt engaged in sexual activities, and she showed that photo. Now you could clearly see already, like automatically, that everyone in the building who they panned to at least was disgusted a little bit. Like they felt like, oh no, what are you doing? Like you've gone too far, like this is too low. Why? And so watching that scene for me, it was tough, and I'll tell you why. I didn't feel bad for Britt. I felt bad for Kenya I feel bad for Kenya because this was your moment. You used your moment to make it about someone else and to stoop so low to show how angry and how bothered you are by what she did in this manner. You're a vet at this point. You are a Real Housewives vet. You've been in the game for such a long time. And what she did was a newbie move. She was playing checkers instead of chess. Had she been playing chess, she would have went to production and executives and let them know, hey, I don't feel safe filming with her. I don't feel safe having her around. And so you guys need to make a decision. Either she's demoted or she's off the show or I leave the show. That's when you have, because at this point, since you've been in the game for such a long time, the ball is really in your court. You have more pull. You're the bigger star on the show. You're the most paid on the show. You've been there the longest. So at this point, you can call some shots and make sure that things are operating the way that you would like for them to, because you're Kenya Moore. You're a vet in the game. But instead, you chose to retaliate in a way that's beneath you. And for every action, there is a reaction. And because of what Britt did, that was Kenya's reaction. But she would have played this she would have been more better off had she played this in a manner of, like I said, chess. You know what I mean? If you're the queen and she's just a pawn, then show up in that manner. Because clearly your presence and your energy and things of that nature makes her uncomfortable. She already has an issue with you. She feels like you have an issue with her because you're not giving her what she wants when it comes to communicating and when it comes to, being in her presence and things of that nature. And sometimes when you don't know anyone, it takes a moment for you to warm up to them. And so you can't just expect for people to just gravitate towards you immediately when they're trying to fill you out. Some people have discernment and they're like, I'm not sure yet. But it's clear that Britt, fan of the show, watched the show, knew how Kenya operated, and she wanted a moment with Kenya, and she got 2 moments with Kenya. She got her moment where she chose to go, to verbally say the things that she said, and then she got the moment that Kenya created for her as well. And it sucks because while Kenya was on pause or suspended or whatever the case may be, I think she had a decision to make, because it wasn't like Bravo fired her. It was more so she was suspended while they needed to investigate things that transpired and figure out which direction they wanted to move in. What could have happened, which is just an assumption, is during that time, maybe Britt felt some type of way, and I don't know what legal grounds she has when it comes to a picture that is on social media, not social media, but on the internet. You know what I mean? Maybe it lives in the internet somewhere and someone else could have found it. So I don't know what grounds she has to threaten and say, hey, if y'all don't do this, then I'm gonna sue this and do that. I'm not sure. But at the same time, maybe Kenya just felt like she wasn't protected in that situation. And because you guys would rather pause me and suspend me, I'd rather not come back at this moment. But it would have been great for her to come back and have redemption. You know what I mean? Because I'm not saying that what Kenya did was completely wrong, but I also don't believe that it was completely right. I do believe that she could handle the situation a different way. Just like Britt could have handled the situation a different way, just like Bravo could have handled the situation a different way. And what I don't understand is why these networks, after they suspend a prominent cast member or put them on pause or even fire them due to their actions while filming, why they continue to still show those actions when the person isn't there anymore, when they don't have a confessional to say, why they did it or how they're feeling now or things of that nature. Because we got to see Britt in her confessional, which confessionals are filmed way after the show has already been filmed. They then come back months and months later, closer to the time for it to premiere, for them to sit down and kind of recap and rehash and and say how they felt and things of that nature. So Britt had the opportunity to come back and be like, hey, I apologize. But did she feel that way then? She didn't, because she released a statement and basically was saying that she didn't say this, she don't even own a pistol, none of those things came out of her mouth. She wouldn't have did anything to put anybody's life into jeopardy or make them feel like they're not protected and things, but you did. So then she came back because you have to speak on your actions and behavior and said that she did have a pistol. And now she's apologetic and she hopes Kenya can forgive her and things of this nature. Like, Kenya didn't have that opportunity. And it would have been great to see her come back, you know, maybe 3 episodes, 4 episodes later, now that she's had time to think about what she's done, for them to try to find a way to reach resolve, because that's what the Real Housewives franchise is about. It's about having these verbal spars, having these disagreements and fallouts and arguments, but then reaching a resolve at the end of the day. How can we come back from this? How do we work through this? How do we show people that it's possible to not like each other in the beginning and in some way become cordial or develop a friendship or whatever the case may be? And so we've been robbed of that. And I think that the fans feel that deeply. And Sunday's episode was tough. It was tough for a lot of people because a lot of people that know that Kenya's a vet definitely felt like, we get, you know, she needed to retaliate or she felt the need to respond. But did she have to respond this way? Could it have been a little a read or two, if that's what they call it, or I don't know, just continue to ignore the girl and upset her with your presence, or better yet, forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person, so that this person doesn't get to live rent-free in your head. So accept the flowers and be in that moment of being like, you know what? I'm not gonna stoop to your level. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna go high because I've been in this game for such a long time, been there, done that. But I'm also gonna keep an eye on you. I'm also gonna watch you to see how you move, because the best apology is changed behavior. And at this point in the game, once again, as a vet, don't allow a newbie to take you off your throne if you're the queen of that throne. You know what I mean? If you're the self-proclaimed and this is who you are because you've been in it for such a long time, don't allow someone to take you off of your throne. That's when, again, your emotional intelligence has to kick in so that you are just aware and so that you're making the best decisions and you're not acting out of emotion that's going to lead you to do something that is drastic. And so it does suck that happened. And we are going to miss Kenya on the show, and hopefully Bravo allows her to come to the reunion and we can get her in season 17. But again, you know, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And in this situation, both of them were wrong for the way that they acted toward each other. So where's the right at? You know, I feel like the right lives in a space where they would have to have a conversation, hash this thing out, and reach some type of, I guess, common ground to where either they can agree to disagree, but most importantly, where they can forgive, where we can see them reach a resolution of, wow, you know, as Black women, we shouldn't be tearing each other down. We shouldn't be going so low to try to humiliate or degrade or to pretty much make it seem as if I'm better than you. But even if we don't see eye to eye and maybe we're not each other's cup of tea, we can still show the world that Black women can come together and have some type of relationship, have some type of rapport, have some type of dynamic that shows 2 strong-minded, big personality, successful women don't have to be enemies. You know, we don't have to love each other, but we can understand each other to a point where we like each other and we can coexist in this space. And so again, I say that it does suck that that took place, but hopefully we can see a resolution. A resolution is important. So sound off and let me know what you think about, what Britt did, what Kenya did, who's right, who's wrong, and just your thoughts and feelings in general regarding that situation. Moving on to Married to Medicine. Married to Medicine. I said this before that this was probably my least favorite season of Married to Medicine because the bullying was at an all-time high, and the intimidation factors and the superior elitist type of stink attitudes and presence and things of that nature was on Front Street. Like, it was to the forefront from both the men and the women. And it was something that I thought we were better than that. And I'm not saying because you have a title as a doctor, you have to be better than that. I'm saying because we have been through so much as Black people, and we continue to go down this path of I'm better than you because I have these materialistic things, or because for women, my wig can look better than your wig, or my makeup looks better than yours, or I show up in a certain way, or your body looks like this. And then for the men, because I'm able to navigate through conversations this way, or I'll talk to my wife or my girlfriend this way and you don't, and I show up in this manner and you don't, and I accept this type of disrespect and you don't, and so this is how you should show up, and it's an unspoken, listen, so many things that they did this season, and even on this reunion, I just wholeheartedly disagree with. I wholeheartedly disagree because I know a lot of times people say things that's convenient for them. It's convenient for the moment, but it's also just convenient for them because it makes them appear to be the bigger, better, wiser person, when that's just not the case. That's not the case, because if you watch the way that a person has moved from season to season to season, and who they choose to associate themselves with, and the actions and behaviors that they choose to play a part of and partake in or encourage and not hold accountable, then that shows a lot. That's telling of a person's character. And what I didn't like is, and I said this before, the bullying, right, of Sweet Tea. Didn't like the bullying of Sweet Tea at all. I feel like the entire cast, as grown Black women, what they did to Sweet Tea deserves some type of, they need to be reprimanded. They need to be, there needs to be a shakeup. There needs to be a meeting held with executives that decides the fate of the show and the dynamics, because they went too far in trying to, I feel like it was more so, it wasn't even hazing. It was trying to use Sweet Tea, for one, to get at Quad, right? And then when that didn't work, they all turned their back on her. Majority of them turned against her and just did her dirty, talked bad about her, created this space of distance between them. It's like it's us and then it's you. Oh, we want to vote you off the island. You're not important. All of these things that gives mean girl energy, that gives I'm better than you, you're a nobody energy, that gives I'm a queen and you're a peasant energy. That's nice, nasty energy. And it's not likable. It's not likable. It's disgusting. It's tough to watch. It's immature. And y'all got to do better. You got to do better. This whole situation should be handled totally different. Y'all should have ushered her in with love, with care, with protection, and with true friendship. And if there is a situation where it authentically unravels and the friendship dissolves based off of both individuals' actions and behavior toward each other and how they've shown up in that space, then that's perfectly fine because that's life. But to create these situations and then want to try to dictate how she responds, that's not right. Because she did the best that she could with what she was given within 2 seasons of being on this show. You know, trying to figure out these people, their personalities, their characteristics, who they are, how they operate, how they show up. Is this real? Is this fake? Are you for me? Are you against me? Are you using me? Do you genuinely care about me? Am I here? Is this a safe space? There's a lot to try to navigate through with these more mature women who are more seasoned in the game when it comes to reality TV, who knows how to play the game, and someone who doesn't, who's a deer in headlights. And so I just didn't appreciate the hot and cold treatment and then the belittling and trying to talk down on and talk at and trying to correct and in some ways discipline and little girling her. And it was tough to watch. And so at this point, I really believe that Married to Medicine deserves a pause. It deserves a cast shakeup. It deserves some demotions. But is that going to happen? Probably not. Because so many people enjoy nastiness and trashy television. They enjoy, and not only that, you know, you have these executives who enjoy parading Black people in a certain manner, in a certain light, as if this is just how we operate. This is who we are. And so, I don't know. We also have a decision to make as viewers. Do we want to continue to support something of this nature? I mean, I felt the same way about about Love in Huntsville. It became too much, and it was like, yeah, I'd rather not watch. I'd rather stop watching. Certain shows I will just stop watching because it becomes too much, and it feels as if it's all about being dramatic and messy and having chaos and being nasty and immature and not about progressing and showing resolution and conflict management and love and family and support and growth. At some point, it just becomes overwhelming, and it's like, no, I don't want to continue to participate in this. And so I really, like I said, I hate the treatment that Sweet Tea received. And you know what else I didn't like? I also didn't like the treatment that Dr. G received. We're all human. You know, we do things, we make mistakes, we say things. And I didn't like the fact that Dr. Damon felt it was his place to educate Dr. G on how he should show up and how he should communicate and how he should respond to things. Because that's not reality. It's not reality to say, oh, my wife or a woman can say whatever she wants to say to your face. She can say whatever she wants to say, and you don't get to respond. You don't get to respond. You need to wait, have a conversation with me, and I'll check my wife. That's not reality. That's just not how that works. The reality is, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you want respect, you be respectful. That's the reality. Because you don't get to tell me how to respond to disrespect. You don't get to tell me that I cannot use my voice to respond to your disrespect and put you in your place. Does that mean that I need to be calling you all type of bitches and hoes and stuff? Oh, that's not necessary. But if the shoe fits and it just so happens to happen based on your level of disrespect, then that's just that. But let me remind you why I also disagree with Dr. Damon in Heavenly and some other cast members. Take Toya. A wise woman builds her house, but a foolish one tears that house down. A wise woman is not going to ignite an argument with a man and be all in his face and act like she can fight him and that she can take him and he can't say nothing back and he can't do nothing back. But he can just sit there and get attacked verbally or even physically. And then she has this conversation with her husband. He has to wait to address the husband, which now involves him into some mess that he didn't even create. And if you know, like I know what's been going on, the anger can be taken out on an innocent bystander, and now your husband is in the hospital. Now your husband is 6 feet under. Now your husband is in jail because of your mouth, because of your actions and your behavior. We cannot create this narrative and think it's okay that you can just do and say whatever you want and there's no consequences. That's not how it works. Yes, once again, we get to decide how we participate in the narrative. As men, we get to decide, do we want to entertain foolishness from a woman who's going off at the mouth or trying to attack us? How do we show up in that? Use your emotional intelligence once again. You know where you're at emotionally, how you're feeling, and where their temperament is at. You're understanding their emotions. You're understanding the energy and the emotions of the people around you. Now you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision. Do I stay and entertain this and it can get to the next level, or do I walk away? Because it's not worth it. You're not worth my breath of the exchange of words, verbal sparring, cursing each other out, or even becoming physical. You're not worth it, so I'm gonna walk away. But being on a reality show, the whole concept is to use your words. And so sometimes it's tough to be on camera as a grown man and to allow a grown woman to speak to you a certain type of way, to say certain things about you, whether they're saying on the internet or on their YouTube channel or in front of you or around you, and you not have an opportunity to defend yourself or respond. That's not realistic and that's not fair to place that type of standard only on men. But the women can go out, parade around and say whatever they want to say, however they want to say it. That's not reality. It's not reality. Respect. If you want respect, be respectful. That's it. Man, woman, it don't matter who you are. In order to get respect, you have to give respect. You cannot be disrespectful and think that somebody is going to respect the disrespect and tolerate it. That's just not how that works. And if you are a man who doesn't want your wife involved in altercation with other men at home behind those closed doors, let her know. When it comes to other men, keep your mouth off of them. You want to say all that you want to say when it comes to other women. Not that I agree with it. I don't like the messiness. But when it's another man, keep your mouth off that man. Because what you don't want to do is bring chaos into our home. You don't want to put me in. Potentially, I could be in danger because now I have to deal with the situation that you created, that you caused. So keep your mouth off of this man. Now, if you want to address some things to me, and me as your husband go and have a conversation with my friend, I have no problem doing that. But that's not your place. Set that boundary with your wife. Then we won't be having this conversation. Then we don't have to agree to disagree. You know what I mean? Set that boundary with your wife. But don't place that expectation on every single man as if this is law. That's not law. Law is be respectful. That's it. Be respectful. So yeah, I got a little bit passionate about that because I just, I see, listen, I see Damon. Damon is a mirror of Heavenly. As nasty as Heavenly is on the outside, and she does it in public, he knows how to hide his and be like a snake in grass and navigate through that thing and still carry that same energy, that same character flaw. He does the same thing, but he does it in a way where it's nice, nasty, it's passive aggressive. It comes off more calm than Heavenly, but it's still straight in your face. Pointing at that man and calling him a coward was nasty. But it also speaks volumes as to who you are. You're married to an agent of chaos. Ain't no way you're not a part of that too. And you're married to this person. You have no issue with these actions and this behavior that has been shown on national television for 10, 11 seasons. Come on. This is behavior that you encourage, that you're not bothered by as long as it's not happening to you. Who knows what's going on behind closed doors? We don't know what's going on because you know what? Heavenly's storyline is being nasty to everyone else and getting away with it instead of showing how her marriage actually functions. The show is called Married to Medicine, not married to drama, not married to friendship, not married to frenemies, but married to medicine, which means that we should be seeing what's going on in your married life and also your friendship circle and also you as a doctor. But she chooses to intentionally shield and hide that part because everything that glitters ain't gold. Because she doesn't want us to see exactly what goes on in her household. Because she wants to keep this picture that is perfect, that it's painted so perfectly. No, my husband don't talk to me that way. And we don't have arguments. Oh no, he'll never do that. Oh no, everything we've always had this perfect. That's a lie. Because like Dr. Eugene said, if the cameras wasn't on and we've all been in our house and we've gotten into a disagreement with our wives, we've said some things that we shouldn't have said. And we don't immediately just go to therapy because we said those things, Toya. That's a lie. You have said some things season after season after season that have rubbed so many people the wrong way. You can't say that just because you said some nasty things, y'all went to therapy right after and y'all got help. That's not the truth. We have to be honest with ourselves first so that we can then be honest with the viewers so that if someone is going through something like this, hopefully they can see that there's a way to fix this. There's a way to do things better, to communicate better. We have to start being honest. And so I love that Eugene was trying to be honest and saying, I mean, we've done it. You know, we can't sit here and just point our fingers at Dr. G because it was caught on camera that he said some things to Sweet Tea that were inappropriate or rubbed people the wrong way, because it wasn't appropriate. It did. I mean, it rubbed me the wrong way, but at the same time, the reality is, in the heat of the moment, sometimes we say stupid shit. Sometimes we do certain things that we shouldn't be doing, that we shouldn't be saying, and we got to come back from that and be like, dang, I was wrong. Like I was just talking and I wasn't thinking, and you didn't deserve that, and I apologize. You know, I love you. And that doesn't mean that you don't love this person. You just were in the heat of the moment. You got in your feelings, you got defensive, and you started saying some things, and your energy shifted and your tone shifted, and you talked to me like you was crazy. That happens, but that doesn't mean that the marriage is terrible. That was a terrible moment, not a terrible marriage, a terrible moment. Now, if this happens every single time, that's when some decisions need to be made. That's a different type of situation. And of course, therapy is always important, but nobody's just automatically after one terrible moment or two or three terrible moments, they're like, oh, let's go to therapy. Therapy is what's needed. It might be on your mind and a good idea, but the reality is it doesn't go from, I said some things that were not the kindest to you, let's go right to therapy. That's not how people automatically operate. And to those of them that do, I say bravo. and that's where you're at, I say bravo. I think that's a beautiful thing. But the reality is, no marriage is perfect. There's no perfect person. Another thing that I just didn't like, I didn't like that King kept trying to have his moment. He kept trying to make Dr. G his moment, or him and his Sweet T's marriage, and the little glimpse that he got, his moment. That's not your moment. Like, stay in your place, sir. When it involves you, then speak. But when it doesn't involve you, stay in your place. Same with Quad. It's not your moment. And when Dr. G did apologize, this was your opportunity, Quad, to also apologize. Because as much as you want to say, oh, I don't try to do things to make him feel some type of way. Just because I'm lifting up my man doesn't mean that I'm trying to belittle Dr. G or take shots at him. You were and you are. You were that night when you guys had the whole couples game night and was asking questions, and you got sloppy drunk and used that as an opportunity to go at this man. You were being petty, you were being vindictive, you were being malicious. Yes, you were. And as grown as everybody want to act like they are, this was your opportunity to apologize to him, because that's exactly what you did. You wanted a reaction out of him, so you kept poking and poking and poking, and then you got a reaction. When he told you, you know, you got a big ass mouth, or you talk too much, whatever he said. But it's the truth. You kept going on and going on and going on and acting as if you're doing nothing wrong. This is the reason why I don't ride with Quad like that. It's because she never holds herself accountable, but she always plays the victim, and everybody has to do an apology to Quad for what they've done. No, once again, for every action, there's a reaction. People aren't just doing things because you're doing nothing. You're doing things, man. You're creating this space and this energy. So it's weird that she sits up there as if she's so innocent and so fragile, as if she doesn't create issues with people. You do, as all of you do. But what people tend to do sometimes is take accountability and apologize, which is something that you're not good at doing. So that's just my take on Real Housewives of Atlanta and Married to Medicine. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions, your views. Even if you don't watch the show, just based off of what I said, I mean, how would you have shown up in these situations and responded and reacted, or whatever the case may be? I'm actually going to come back and do another video. There's some things that I want to talk about. And so I'll see you on part 2. Till next time, take care of yourself and each other. God bless you. Peace.